some retirement tips for our viewers. Compare the different cities in the Philippines that you've been in. Let's get started. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another special episode today with my good friend Carey from Canada, an expat not living on $1,000 a month. I've been asked quite often to interview an expat who's living on a healthy retirement, who could afford to have fun and make the most of his life. And welcome and thank you for being here today with us.
Good.
How many times have you been to the Philippines, Carey?
I think with the current trip where I landed here in September, I've flown here 7 times.
Tell us, where are you from and how old are you?
Just turned 66 years old a couple of weeks ago. I'm from British Columbia, Canada, near Vancouver, Canada, and raised a family there.
And you've got a couple of wildly successful sons, and congratulations, that's a sign of a man who's led a good life when his kids turn out to be so successful. What kind of work did you do in Vancouver?
For about 35 years, I raised money for charity. So that could be rescue missions, Christian schools, universities, and hospitals. So whether it could be medical equipment at a hospital in Canada. They have similar in the U.S. as well. Could be scholarships at a university. That kind of work. Okay.
Well, Carey, there's this saying that the sound of your horn toots a little bit farther when someone else blows it. So for just a second, I'm going to Carey is actually my golf buddy, and Carey is someone I play cards with every Monday night, and I know him better than just somebody that I just met and I'm interviewing. And I can tell you that Carey is an outstanding golfer. He's always the best golfer, no matter how many are there, and he's extremely fit. And he is on his way in just a few short weeks to Africa to do some charity work every 18 months. What is the name of the organization you work with?
World Vision. It's a large charity that you can give monthly to support a child in another country.
Right. And Carey lives in CDO, just 3 kilometers away, and you're renting a condominium there. And, you live this exemplary life. You go to church on Sundays. We just had a friend of the channel pass away. You were kind enough to come and say some spiritual words. And you have a perspective. You're like this solid citizen, good athlete. You raise this stellar family, and you live this life doing charity work, and you found your way here to the Philippines. What brought you to the Philippines?
About 5 years ago in 2019, I was kind of reaching that stage of life where I was thinking I'm going to retire at about 67, 68, I thought. I ended up doing it a little bit earlier. Was trying to figure out where I was going to do that on the budget that I knew I might have. I had dated a Filipina about 10 years ago in Canada. We had met online at the time. We dated for about 2 years, and because I ended up changing jobs, we ended up breaking apart because of the distance that happened. Always had a special place in my heart for the Filipino culture, the type of women that I had dated, as well as I'd met other Filipino workers in Canada. So that made me, and the exotic culture here, I decided to come here for a month in 2019 before the pandemic. So that got me started, and once I got on that treadmill, it was hard to get off. It's really nice here.
So you were married to a fitness athlete? How long were you married?
So, Rob, unfortunately, I've been married twice. Okay. All right. Don't know if any listener has been, but I have been.
I'm sure they have.
A long time, 25 years with one person. And then the second person I did marry, she was an elite athlete.
Right. Carey, currently, you've got a long-term girlfriend here in the Philippines. You've got a really interesting story because you came to the Philippines in 2019, and you were looking for somebody very, very special. And you're at the point where you're zeroing in on maybe completing that mission. But tell us about this journey that you were on.
Yeah, it's stepping back from your earlier comment about finding someone. It doesn't happen. It's a journey. And those who say they just want to come here to find someone, that can be a long journey or a short one, but I think it's got its pitfalls along the way. So I came, yes, looking for someone, but I also had other purposes to come here, and I think it's important to have other purposes, the culture, the weather. But yeah, when I came here, I was looking, and I went online, but I didn't just zero in on one. Because I wanted to meet some people.
How long did you come the first time?
I came for almost a month.
Had you met somebody online?
Yeah, so I actually was open with the girls. being kind of my value system, I went online. You get the 562 messages the first night. You've talked about that in past. And so narrowed it down to 3, and I was open with all 3 of them. It was in Cebu. That's where I started meeting. And I said, just to let you know, I'm meeting 2 other people. And that's what I did. I met 3 people. And then I actually started dating one in 2019. And the others, one I never stayed in touch with again. And the second one, we remained friends, but we never dated again. But yeah, I actually then zeroed in on one, and she became a girlfriend, which lasted through most of the pandemic. And then because the pandemic, especially here in the Philippines, it was unclear how long it was going to last. Eventually I cut it off and said, hey, I don't know when I'll see you again. And so then I broke that up 2021, late 2021.
And then you came back, and your objective was to start over. Had you met another person online?
I did, yes. And we met. It wasn't a good fit. She had dated some other foreigners. That wasn't the reason, but certainly, again, I zeroed in on one kind of idea.
Let me ask you, when you were looking online, what was your parameters? How old, a mother, single,
I prefer to meet someone who's already had a child.
Okay.
I really did. I knew enough about the Philippines that most Filipino women here want to have a child. Even if they say they can put that off to someone who wants no children, they all want children. They want a child. So I actually was kind of zeroing in on what you call, that old, what do you call it, the unicorn? Yeah. Someone that's a little bit older, 27, 32, 38. 45 I'd be happy with too, but there's not as many online that are 45. Yeah. They typically are 25 to 40. So yeah, someone who had 1, 2, or more children, who was somewhat stable. As a Christian, I wanted someone who's Christian, but most of the women here are Roman Catholic, so that was kind of easy. So that, and also I was actually looking for someone who's kind of got some fitness in their life.
Using the same dating app all the time?
No.
They tried the different ones?
Yeah, I've probably tried them all.
So, Christian Filipino versus Filipino Cupid, do you think other than the price, do you think there's any difference?
No. I think the Christian Filipino is a little bit more restrictive. And so I think the other ones are probably give you a bigger host of choices.
Yeah. And a lot of our subscribers, they run into this, they jump in the shark tank and they lose an arm to the shark and they want to quit and get out of the pool. What do you say to them?
It's really hard to get to know someone in just a few contacts online. They're a lot of them have done a lot of online conversations, and they're learning just like we learn online. So the women that are the ones that you are attracted to, that are easy to talk to, they're experienced as well, I found. So you need to kind of spend some time with them and not get fooled.
You started over, you had met somebody again online.
Yeah. And again, like I said, that didn't last. So then I did some online, but I also met people here. And in the last couple of years, I think that's been kind of the easiest. Also met people on Facebook who will friend me.
Right.
I don't know how that happens with the algorithms, but as a foreigner here, it doesn't take long before on your Facebook you get friend requests. Yeah. And you don't know where they come from, but they just come. And so most of them you just delete. But then eventually you just, okay, well, hey, if she wants to chat, I'll chat with her, So that happened as well. And now that I'm in a relationship, I still get them, but I just delete.
So you met people that way? You entered into some short-term relationships?
Yep. And like I say, my objective is always to get to know them a little bit. Do the dinner out and that sort of thing. Don't book a trip to Boracay right away. Just spend some time with the girls before you do your trip away.
Now you're a little different. Most men fall in one of two categories. They want to bring the Filipino back to the West, or like me, they want to come here and make their pension go farther. You were coming 5 months or 6 months a year because the healthcare system in Canada is a little different. What was your plan? I mean, what you were going to just keep doing, and you're still going home because you have family. You're very close with. You want to spend at least 2 months back with your family.
Yep. So my plan was back in 2019. I thought I might do the 6 and 6. In Canada, we can stay away for up to 6 months, keep all of our health care benefits, and I would keep an apartment there. But then over time, the financial it's costly, and the inflation is, even during the pandemic, prices were increasing. My pension, I kind of knew where it was going to be by the time I retired. So then I kind of moved to this fact that this will be my base. Plus, I really enjoy it here. I've got friends like you and others that I've met, and I think making friends here in the Philippines is much easier than it is in our home countries. I have long-term friends, but to make new friends is not easy. In April, I reached out to you because I was going to make a trip here. I'd already been to Cagayan De Oro in July 2023. I came out here to see a couple of the golf courses and just to get to know the community a little bit. I had time. I came on my own, didn't date, and spent some time here. So I wanted to come back because there's some good golfing here. I don't really like Cebu and Manila. There's too much pollution, and it actually personally bothers me. Here, there's a lot cleaner air, and I knew that. So I came back, and then I contacted you, said, hey, would you like to have coffee? You said yes. When I reached out to you, just before meeting you, I think you said, hey, we're doing this card game. Come join us. We're low on numbers. So I met all the guys, ended up meeting a guy there, Ivan, who we know, who golfs 3 times a week. I said, that's nice. So that kind of got things going, and now I'm kind of part of it.
Yeah. When you reached out to me, you were renting a condo for about 25,000 pesos a month in a nice tower in Cebu City. And you decided to come to CDO, but you didn't leave your condo. You had a home base. And a lot of guys ask me about that. Should they like the idea of creating a home base and then traveling around? I always try and talk them out of it, but you did the opposite. What do you think about this idea of like getting a home base and then leaving it empty as you travel around?
Both works. I'd already spent some time. I'd been to Dumaguete a few times. I've been to Manila. I won't be going back, at least not as a tourist. I'd seen Cebu already. Cebu is a good base to be at. But moving around, taking buses, I'm not a big fan of buses. I own a motorcycle, which I bought a long time ago as well, but you can rent easily here. So I like the home base concept. Flights are very, very cheap. And then coming back with all your stuff, if you have stuff. Both can work. I think on your first trip, it's okay to wander, but once you kind of know the area a little bit, I'm a fan of having a base. You come back, you meet the guys at the Starbucks when you come back, you chat. You're not always looking for new friends.
Right.
And having kind of that base, which I had in Cebu almost right away. I went down to the mall. I think my third day, I met a group of foreigners sitting at Bow's Coffee.
Exactly. Center. Is it Ayala Center or Central?
Center, I think. Anyhow, it's the one. Yeah, it's not IT Park, but it's the other one.
And what time of day? Is it 10, like anytime between 10 and 3 typically?
There's a group in that mall that it will meet from about 11 or 12 right till 7. And there's 1 or 2 guys, one particular Ray, who's there all day, every day, all year long.
Yeah. Look for Ray.
There are a few, but the mall here has some of those guys too that are there every day from 10 to about noon, every day, 365 days a year.
Which mall here is the one in Uptown, or the downtown SM has a group too, right?
Yeah, I won't mention his name, but yeah, there's a guy there he's an older guy.
And where do you find him?
He's at the 3rd level having coffee with 4, 5, 6 foreigners. Yeah,
and then here in CDO, Jocko's Wednesday from 1 o'clock, and then KL Friday afternoon. Yeah. You are renting a studio, and I've just mentioned that you're off to Africa to do charity work, and you have a more you have a more robust retirement than you see. So many videos. You can live here for $1,000, and this is what $200 a month gets you. Yeah. But you've chosen not to throw your money away. You're living in this studio for what, $25,000, $30,000?
It's actually $30,000 all in.
Okay,
but it's a nice place. It's
approximately $500 US all in, which is very good. And you purchased a pretty nice motor scooter, $125,000, $130,000.
About 130, yeah.
130,000. And you put your golf clubs on the back and you drive up an hour to our course in the Bukidnon Mountains behind us here, 3 or 4 days a week. You join the golf. Yeah. What does it cost you to golf at Del Monte? You join for how much?
It's ridiculously low. 30,000 pesos. Is that 500 US?
500, yeah.
For the whole year, unlimited golf.
Yeah.
And as you know, it's a really nice course. Is it maintained as well as some others that will play in North America? No. But is the layout amazing? Yes, it's an amazing layout.
Right. And I paid 707 pesos. Yeah. I'm not a member. I'm too cheap to buy the membership because if you only golf 1 day a week,
it's cheap.
It's kind of a break even. And so, and then the caddy's 500 plus tip. and they have a very good restaurant up there. But we golfed here in Pueblo, and it's 3 kilometers away, and that's a Trent Jones course, I think.
It's an amazing course, but again, you're paying $50 US by the time you're done,
50
roughly?
US by the time you're done. It's double, at least. I get away, it's a little bit more than double, but it's very close. But we enjoy the ride up in the mountains. Okay, let's go back to your journey in trying to find love in the Philippines. You came back to Cebu City.
Right.
What has been your boots on the ground experience? I mean, Chrissy says just ask him where the Jollibees is. What's your approach? Before you got into this long-term relationship, what was your approach?
A little bit online, and a little bit, not by chance, but being in places where you're going to meet people. So if you're based in Cebu, and I think a little bit easier there than here, and if you are part of an expat group that meets for coffee in Cebu, IT Park would work as well, but in Cebu, and you will meet women at the mall by chance.
Because you're coming every day to the coffee shop.
And other guys do as well. I mean, if you're coming here and say, I want to have someone within 2 weeks, no, it's going to be difficult.
Yeah.
But if you're here and living here for a few months, you're going to meet women. Yeah. And as a friendly gesture, the same as we would say hi to someone in North America, how are you doing? If there's an interest on them, they'll say hi as well, and you can start a conversation. That happened quite a few times. That doesn't mean I started a relationship, but you can start friendships very easily if you try it all. I mean, if you don't talk to girls, no, it's going to be difficult. But if you say hello, they'll usually respond. And sometimes they will, no, not sometimes, they almost always will say, are you single, sir? They say that so soon.
Where's your wife?
Exactly. In North America, if we have coffee and we say hi to the waitress, how are you doing? And how's your day going? If we do that here, the first, second, or third sentence will be, are you alone, sir? Where's your wife?
Yeah.
Are you single, sir? It's just something they say. It's just a natural thing.
People, I think, are going to want to know, like you're very fit, and you're a real attractive candidate for the Filipinas here, but you've been here 7 times, and you're still single. So are the Filipinas failing? What's going on?
Well, I have a good woman now.
Yeah.
Is that a good phrase to say?
Yeah.
She's an amazing person.
Right.
She's a single mother. She's got a number of children. Yeah. And she's a good catch. I'm not the type of person, and she knows this, that just jumps all in. I have found that I need time, and I'm not here just for a relationship. So I like the dating experience as well. I don't want to make a mistake, and I enjoy the dating.
So you're like 50% retirement, 50% dating.
Yeah, I think in time-wise, it's 80% retirement.
Because your girlfriend lives 4 to 5 hours away.
8 hours, 7 hours.
7 hours, and you see each other. You see each other at least every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I would say every 2-3 weeks we spend a few days together.
Yeah, and you go away together, things like that. And you're trying to sort out your future.
Exactly.
But it took you a long time, and there's a lot of guys sitting home with dad bods and maybe thinning hair and thinking, wow, it took you 7 trips and you still haven't found your woman. What do you say to them?
The pandemic affected that a little bit. I would say, again, if your only purpose for coming here is dating, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I met a gentleman in my complex where I'm living last week. We had dinner together that night, who booked 2 months here to find someone, and that's all he's here for. He's 71, I think he told me. That's fine, but I came here for 3 reasons. To retire in a nice country where it's enjoyable to live, great weather, better than Vancouver, Canada, and the opportunity to meet friends and dating. I mean, I'd put them in the same category, so friendships and relationships. So those 3 reasons. If
you didn't have a long-term relationship, 8 hours on Mindanao, where would you settle here in the Philippines?
I'd still probably be here. Another place that I kind of like, I haven't spent a lot, but I spent some time, is Bacolod. I think it's another good community to be in, but I like it here a lot. I've made some good friends. The weather here is, I think, some of the best I've seen. We get a lot of rain as a city, but we don't get it for most of the day. It's always nice like this.
You were just saying, like, you golf 4 times a week. You've never been rained out.
Yesterday was the first time.
Drizzle yesterday.
Yesterday was my 54th round since September at this golf course. 54. It's the first day we've got a drizzle.
As a motorcycle rider, is it a problem, the rain?
No. I would say you're driving slower. I try to avoid the rain. I don't go out at nighttime. if I can avoid it. I've driven motorcycles my whole life, so I think there's an advantage. I do recommend that guys get a motorbike here if you've got some experience. If you don't have much experience, then just stay off the main areas until you do and practice a little bit, emergency stuff. But the freedom that you get of not having to get on a grab, which can take 10 minutes or a half an hour for it to show up, just jumping on my motorcycle, coming up here in the morning, going golfing, running up the street to a coffee shop, and never thinking about, it's not just the cost, it's the convenience and the independence that a motorbike gives you. A car would give you that as well, but motorcycles are handy here for a foreigner.
What do you give for advice for people that are trying to get unstuck? That first step off the edge of the cliff can be a doozy. How do they work their way into this lifestyle that we found here?
I would suggest when you come here, book at least a month, so you've got some time. Go online. If you want a date, if that's one of the purposes, go online, meet 1, 2, or 3. But I believe in honesty. You know, tell the girls what you're doing. If they don't understand, say that's what way we would do it in North America. Then meet them, have dinner, go on an afternoon date, do what you want. I mean, that depends, but get to know. But also, when you get out here, make some plans. Like, go to a few different cities. Go to Palawan, go to Coron. I love Coron. It's amazing. Go to Boracay. It's a nice place to go. But there's other good places. Bantayan Island as well. Highly recommend that. Siargao. But yeah, book that. And if you have someone to go with, great. But by the time you get there, you probably will have someone to go with, you know, because someone would want to go. But enjoy the opportunities out here. Sit down at the local coffee shops and meet people. Yeah. Don't be afraid to say hi. If you see a foreigner walking down the mall, say hi, because in our own malls we typically wouldn't do that. Right. But do say hi, because you'll start a conversation almost right away. So that would be my recommendation, is learn to break the ice into this culture. Spend some time. Don't be too focused on just meeting someone. Like, enjoy. Get up in the morning. Go for a run or a walk. That's what I do. Get out. Don't get stuck in front of a TV like you might be doing in North America. Get out, enjoy it. It's really beautiful here, and that's what I did.
And are you now planning to spend 10 months a year here in the Philippines? You initially were thinking 6 months, 6 months.
Budget-wise, it's easier to just make this my base. Often budgets don't show what it costs to go back and forth all the time, and I annually want to go back.
What do you do about health insurance?
When I come back here, I get about 6 months of coverage, or at least I have in the past. The longer I spend here, I will lose that. I'd have to go back and reset for 3 months. So I've got insurance right now that just is about to expire, because I've only been here 5 months. And my last trip was 3 months. I was back in Canada. So going forward, I will self-insure partly, and then I will have a basic plan. They call it a PESO plan.
Yeah, that's what I have. Yeah.
Phil Health, I haven't signed up for yet, but I'm going to get Phil Health. It's got a small, and then I am not well off, but I have enough. If I had something that was massive, we have a friend, Jim, who just had a hip surgery. If I had that, I'd go back to Canada, probably spend my 3 months and do it for free.
Yeah. How do you compare these cities and some of the other cities you've been to?
If you're going to enjoy a life with lots of things to do, other foreigners that are nearby, and you're not going to live a super active life, then I think Cebu is really awesome. I find it quite easy to meet guys there if you make half an effort. If you want to golf, Cebu has good golf courses, but it's expensive. If you want to get out in the country on your motorbike or your car and travel and explore, Cebu is okay, but I think it's better here. Dumaguete's good too. I've explored a lot of that, not a lot, but quite a bit of that island, and that's also an excellent place. 10 minutes, you're out of the city. It's beautiful in Pamplona, up north towards Bacolod. Like, there's a lot of places to explore.
What has been challenging about the cultural norms here in the Philippines?
Challenging thing is the emotional side for me of seeing the poverty. You've got to become accustomed to poverty, which includes garbage. It includes begging. I was in Cebu and spending a week or so, and I was walking around the city, and I remember you'd see young mothers with their babies, and the babies would be, naked in their arms, typically. The weather's always nice. But it brought me to tears one night. I was walking the street, and there's a 40-story high-rise, and on the street is a naked little baby. I worked in a hospital for a long time, and so I know this baby was maybe 2 to 3 weeks old. It's small. It's naked. There's no blanket underneath it. It's laying on the cement. You would see that in Canada. Now, there's some mothers walking around. It will be one of the mothers. That made me cry. Like, it's heartbreaking to see that kind of thing. There's no social services to walk by and say, we got to save that baby.
Right.
You have to adjust to the poverty and the lack of social services and care for people. And I don't give out money to people very often. I would rather than give it to my church if you attend a church here, because they'll manage it a little bit better.
Yeah. You're in a 36-year age gap relationship. Yep. Do you get a lot of stink eye? How do you feel about the age gap here? What can you tell people about age gap relationships? We just did a video about reality versus myths. What's your reality versus myth?
When I came here in 2019, the first trip, when I went online, I wanted 35 plus. And again, that's 6 years ago, so I was younger. And I met 3 girls and ended up dating one who was, I think, late 30s at the time and had a 17-year-old daughter who didn't live with her, was in school in Manila. So that's, in my mind, that's the only thing that would work for me, because I didn't want 35 years. But then as I came back and it's harder to find a girlfriend that is, 40, 45, 50. There's not a lot available. The best ones are married, I think, out here. Or you just don't find them online, and you don't find them in the malls to say hi to. So I would say that is in building a relationship, you have to kind of open it up and go a little bit younger. Yeah. And I wouldn't want a 22-year-old, because that just would feel weird. Dating can be enjoyable, and take your time. There's not a rush. You're
living your best life. I mean, of all the expats I know, you're really an example of one of the top few that are living.
You're a good example.
Thank you. More so than a lot of the guys, you really are thoughtful about being focused at least 50% on retirement, not 100% on just meeting someone to complete you. What would you give in the way of tips in terms of finances and healthcare and getting the most out of your retirement, picking a retirement city, how to go about maximizing the pleasure of your retirement? I have a son who's a financial planner. He's helped me do the numbers, trying to decide when you can come out here, because I think too many guys wait too long. Like the gentleman I met in my complex a week ago, 71 years old. And if he ends up watching this, which he probably will, I said, I don't know what he would say, but I'm guessing he might look back and say, I should have done this 6 years earlier or 9 years earlier, because I was going to retire at 67, 68. That was my plan. Budget-wise, I just knew I haven't done well with my own personal real estate. I've bought in homes and not made money, whereas others have. But I am a saver. I got the numbers from my son that I could do it now with the budget I can have out here. So I would say once the numbers work, get out here and get your boots on the ground. Do a month to start. Go to a few cities. Don't get stuck, but start in Manila or Cebu. I'm a fan of Cebu, but book some other trips. And if you can meet some girls to go with, good, enjoy it. But keep the focus on, this is going to be retirement based, and it's not just about a relationship, because that could disappoint you. I think there's advantage being close to a city, but I don't want to be in the core of a city. Right. Things that have brought you great joy and things that were kind of challenging that people might not think about. The biggest joys there's 3 of them that stand out for me. The relationship, the women are, the girl I'm seeing is amazing. They get jealous easily, but it's hard to come up with other faults. And the foreigner friends, because I've met new friends. Again, in our own cultures, it's hard to make new friends. The other is the beauty of the country and weather. There's a lot of people that live in good weather in, say, southern U.S. Yeah. This is really hard to beat. What about challenges? I think the challenges, sadly, is relationships, because sometimes the expectations of us as a older person from another country and adapting to how the Filipinos think. That takes time, and that's one of the reasons why I've come here for almost 6 years, on and off. It's a great country to retire in. This is number one. This is a really good country. Guys, if you're watching this and this is a place you would like to try, come, don't wait too long. Give me a call. Check out my online consultation calendar. The links are in the comment box and the description box. Or send me an email to flymetothephilippines@gmail.com. If I don't know the answer to your question, I'm going to ask Carey. He might know. Rob's a smart guy. There you go. Say that again. Maybe. Rob's a smart guy. He's fun to be with. Yes. Thanks, guys. Till next time, from Fly Me to the Philippines.